I think everybody knows I have some pretty strong views when it comes to the El Salvador prison. But there's part of me, it's like, maybe we keep it open just for Marco. How you doing?
Hold on. Sorry, I gotta get started here.
Okay. What do you got there?
Just put it right there.
A little
Just in case we wind up dark.
Xanax football, or
Just in case we
Is
wind
that
up
how
dark.
Xanax works? You sit it next to you and then it helps?
For the second dose, yes.
lorazepam?
I am no, I think this is the brand name stuff. I'm 45 minutes into the first dose, guys, and I'm feeling great. All right, let's do this show. Hello, Chicago. I'm JVL. And I'm here with my best friends, Sarah Longwell, Tim Miller of the Bulwark.
It's a rowdy crowd. I don't know if you caught segment one. There were people shouting "pussy" out there. It's like a goddamn.
I take it they didn't listen to the full Pete show because you brought out something else that was a first on the Bulwark.
I did. No, that
Oh.
was
Did he
today,
say the C word?
on the George Packer show. It was not Pete. It was
Oh,
on
it was
the
the George Packer show.
I
Yes,
did.
it was the George Packer show.
I did say the
Sorry.
C word, but in the British sense. I said that J.D. Vance is a cunt, but in the British sense of the word. That's right.
that's allowed.
That's allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I specifically said in the British sense of the word.
Okay, that has never been allowed for me.
Okay. Well, I'm gay.
Okay.
Not in that shirt. Who could tell? You know, we were getting ready to come out here, and I was like, Tim, what do you think of my outfit? And he goes, it's not great, it's not bad, you're fine. And I was like, I don't even register for you, do I? Like, you know, just like
You
he's
know.
doing a show with John Lovett for World Pride Day. You know who else is going to be on the show for World Pride Day?
Who?
This lesbian.
You?
Yeah.
Me and Lovett have some surprises in store for you, girl. You got no idea what's coming.
My ladies are going to roll up on motorcycles. You're never going to know what happened.
Fingerless gloves.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right, can we do a show?
Sorry.
Are we not doing it already?
This is the material. Enjoy the veal. Okay, so everything is great. We're finally getting our real authoritarianism. We got a bunch of pardons. I'd wanted to talk a little bit about the pardons. You guys have seen this, right? But then we got another one today. So this is Congressman Michael Grimm, Republican lawmaker from New York 1, from Brooklyn and Staten Island. He may have done some light tax evasion, and
Did he also assault somebody?
had served
that
7
him?
months in prison, but he has been pardoned, I assume, because, as I read here, he was badly injured last September after being thrown by a horse during a polo tournament. Once again, MAGA and the Forgotten Man. So we have that. Then we have the CBS settlement, where CBS went to the dear leader and proposed to give him $15 million.
He turned him down, said he needed 25
Yeah, that's
for
right.
nothing.
That's right. Art of the deal. Art of the deal. And then there's some stuff going on with Rubio and State. Do you guys want me to cook on this and set you up, or do you want to
Do
go?
the pardons really quickly.
Well, okay, what about the pardons? I thought I did them. No.
The polo take was all you had there? The polo?
Well,
that's
so we
that's
had-
the heart of your material?
So the first, the sheriff, Scott Jenkins, hand to God, the first time I read this, I thought, wait a minute, is that the CNN guy?
I did the same thing.
Did you do
I
the
did the
same-
same. I had to do a double take.
Yeah. We then
Scott
have-
Jennings.
Yeah, I was like, what was, yeah. It looks like it if you just look at it really fast.
Yeah.
So he got pardoned. All he did was take $75,000 in bribes, give people no-show jobs as deputy sheriffs. There was, in fact, video of him carrying Scrooge McDuck-style bags of money, like with the dollars falling out of them and stuff.
Did you see the rationale he gave for why he felt like he needed to have deputy sheriffs and arm them?
No.
This is how deep through the looking glass these guys are. I wish you would have known this because you could do it in your Foghorn Leghorn voice. I'm gonna have to do it in my normal voice. But he said, Cletus. But he said that he was worried that Biden was coming for the guns, and it was the only way that he could arm people in his community.
I don't gotta deputize them so Biden doesn't get their guns.
I was like, what? You needed fake deputy sheriffs so that you could give him a sidearm? Because he's worried that the feds are coming for him in Culpeper County.
Culpeper County.
I don't think people are headed out there to Culpeper County. I don't think the feds are worried about you.
So last month he pardoned Paul Walzak, who withheld $10 million from the paychecks of employees and stole money and used it to buy a $2 million yacht. At his sentencing, the judge had said, there is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for the rich. I'm sorry, Your Honor, that's not true.
Was he the one who is the Nepo baby? Who's the one whose mommy gave $1 million to Trump? And then also, the mommy also somehow was weirdly involved in the release of Ashley Biden's diary? It's like, where do you find these fucking people?
On the internet. And then there's the reality TV couple, Todd.
Wait a minute, you're not even getting to my favorite one. I've been waiting for it the whole time. Is that all you have for pardons?
Just do your own then.
This is my show now. He said he floated today that he's gonna pardon Gretchen Whitmer's kidnappers.
Attempted kidnappers.
Attempted kidnappers. And this is a good lesson for everybody. Mm-hmm. You suck up to Trump and he'll pardon your kidnappers. Right? You are not winning favor with him by showing up at the Oval Office while he signs executive orders to go after Chris Krebs for saying that the election wasn't stolen. You know, she got her military base.
Pardon?
What?
Is it wrong that maybe I'm okay with this pardon?
Yes, it is
okay,
wrong.
Sorry. I mean, I'm not okay with it.
I did see the hug again when I was reading the CNN story about this. I rewatched the hug.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that you would touch him.
I know.
That is actually the thing I'm most offended about. Of all the things with the Gretchen Whitmer sucking up to him, I was like, you could even get me there, I think, on whatever, going to some fucking ribbon cutting for, the base. I wouldn't be for that, but I'd probably be over it by 2027. Touching him in a loving embrace is unacceptable in any circumstance. Yeah. Get away from me.
All right, so can I keep going down the authoritarian litany here?
Yeah, please.
So Marco Rubio did some tweeting today. United States State Department is not going to allow entry to the U.S. even for travel for people who hurt the free speech rights of Americans. For too long, Americans have been fined, harassed, and even charged by foreign authorities for exercising their free speech right. Today, I am announcing a new visa restriction policy that will apply to foreign officials and persons who are complicit, blah, 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 blah. And also he's starting to go after student visas for, Chinese people.
I got to tell you.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows I have some pretty strong views when it comes to the El Salvador prison. But there's part of me, it's like, maybe we keep it open just for Marco. It's like a little part of me. It's like, I don't know. I mean, he has his fucking little big ears, little fingers on this whole thing. And it's unbelievable that he can, we've seen unimaginable levels of mental gymnastics and contortions and rationalization over the last decade. And kind of Lindsey Graham is the prime example of this. But I feel like Marco has now outpaced all of it. It's one thing to rationalize being for Trump so you get to be Secretary of State. Not good, but I can see it. I can understand how you get yourself there, at least. It's hard to understand how you figure that you are going to be the big advocate for American free speech worldwide while you are the point person for sending mass thugs to get a random 30-year-old graduate student for co-signing an op-ed.
Well, that's the full Orwell, right? And that's what's weird about it. So this is, again, so I'm going to get you there.
You're giving me a look like I'm wrong about something.
No, he didn't do it just to run the State Department. I mean, he's got 6 jobs now because they keep giving him.
So he is the archivist.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be president soon if they just keep giving him all the jobs.
New jobs.
They're just like collapsing agencies.
Who's had a more convincing conversion for you between him and JD?
JD.
I think
Yeah,
so
because I think
too.
JD talked himself into this
Yeah.
being real. I think Marco Rubio.
It's the ears. It's like
It's
the
not-
Pinocchio ears.
It's not
JD doesn't have any physical features that are growing every time he tells a lie on behalf of Trump.
Maybe. Or the thing about Marco Rubio is he was in office for a very long time. So
Yeah.
he has this long record, whereas
Yeah.
JD Vance just wrote a book, gave some talks about being Never Trump at AEI, was like one of us for a little bit, and then decided he was going to bring American manufacturing back, remember the forgotten man, and like he's talked himself into being the good guy. Whereas Marco knows everything he's doing, exactly how wrong it is, because it is the exact opposite of everything he ever said as an elected official.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there is tape, literally,
Lots
tape
of
of
it. He
Marco
ran for
Rubio
president.
saying, when I am president, then America will be strong in the world and will support our allies.
Another shout out to Kinzinger. Is he still back there? Kinzinger got that fucking guy red from day one. Even when Kinzinger was a Tea Party Republican, Marco was the hot person for all the Kinzinger people
knew
to
he
go
was a
endorse.
fraud.
Yeah. Kinzinger was hanging out with me and Jeb, last place. Principled even back then.
All right, last two authoritarian things, and then I want you guys to go. Karoline Leavitt says, electricians...
Do you mispronounce her name on purpose? People are wondering.
He even mispronounces MAGA. He pronounces it like fancy, MAGA. No one pronounces it that way.
Keep going.
Sorry.
Electricians, plumbers, we need more of those in our country and less LGBTQ graduate majors from Harvard University. And that's what this administration's position is. So,
Can you major in LGBTQ?
I kind of had a different question.
I know like Tim did,
Yeah,
but I
I
mean
did.
like formally.
I did not actually.
I don't
was
mean like playing
closeted
softball like I
lately.
did. I mean like, can you major in it?
Yeah. She thinks there aren't any lesbian plumbers. I think was my follow-up question on that. We need more plumbers and less LGBTQ people. She knows what the L stands for, right? That seems like a conflict. Aren't all women plumbers lesbians? Are there any heterosexual women plumbers?
I mean, I don't know all of them, so. But I do think if you get a lady plumber, the chances are like pretty good,
Pretty good it's a
that,
lesbian.
that she'll be at the bar later.
Yeah. Feels like
and then there's Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education, who said
You guys don't like any of the cabinet secretaries. You're so hard on people.
universities should continue to be able to do research as long as they're abiding by the laws and in sync, I think, with the administration and what the administration is trying to accomplish. So I ask you, with this full panoply of things coming from all parts of does this sound like actual Viktor Orban style authoritarianism, or is this like my TDS?
You do have TDS,
Right. Granted.
but I don't think that's what's happening right now. I do think we're in full. This is the problem is we've been talking about our authoritarian moment for a long time. And I just want to say, in defense of those of us who have been talking about it, we were never wrong. Like, we've always, as long as Trump has been around, he has been moving down the road. And it's not like you just like arrive at authoritarianism one day, right? It's like falling asleep or in love. Like it happens slowly and then all at once, right? It's like one day we're going to wake up and there's not going to be anyone left to do the democracy part. And a lot of that is, and it's happening at such scale and such speed right now that it's difficult, I think, to push back in all of the ways that it needs to get pushed back against.
I want to be a little bit slightly more positive, which is unlike me. Orbanism moved really slow, too, right? Like,
Yeah.
and Orban was like basically indistinguishable from the other European center-right like leaders in the late 2000s, right? Like Orbanism moved very slow, and Orban like eventually got to a point where like he captured the institutions. And that happened kind of fast, to your point about how it like happened slowly then all at once. And so like we aren't there. Like, we should be aware of where we are, like, to mix metaphor, like on the field, and I do think that's a challenge, right? It's just a challenge for the human brain to be like, we're either in 1933 Germany, or JBL's TDS and everything's fine, right? And like, there's a huge gap between all of that, and so I do think that all those things you listed out are very bad, and there's going to be a lot of more bad things happen. But he hasn't, like, CBS has pussied out, since we can say that word, so to speak. But like, there's journalists are still journalisming for now, right? Like, a number of universities have folded, but like, the universities are still universitying for now, right? And you haven't seen people doing like, we're going to do WWE level research grants now to get money. Like, we haven't seen that yet. That all might come. But I do think that like, we are still at an area where we have a lot of levers to push back.
I don't know.
Levers to push back.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be the optimistic one, but I'm not sure about that. I mean, the one institution that right now is holding is the courts.
Yeah.
Right? And so that has been
Harvard's holding.
So that's real. Harvard is, but I think the thing that is pernicious and that you can't see because it's not in full view. In full view and high profile is the caving. And I think some of the scariest pieces of the caving are not, it's not really Columbia caving. It's where journalism companies, right, these media companies cave because they've got a merger. Like, the reason that Sherry Redstone is caving is because they like offered him $15 million today, and he's like, no, I want 25. And even though they did nothing wrong, they would win that case in court. She just wants to do a Paramount merger and get it done. That, to me, is a real threat to civil society. The law firms that are supposed to be the backbone, like, the judges are having to do it while the lawyers are caving. They're the instruments of the rule of law, which is sort of the last bastion of where these democratic institutions are holding. And so I think that stuff is really scary. And I think we're further along. And then there's the pernicious part that you can't see is all the people who are just chilled by it. All the law firms who maybe haven't publicly caved, but aren't taking certain cases and aren't speaking out. All of the people who are keeping their heads down, which in the business community, just across civil society, that chilling effect is, I think, the part that is the scariest right now, because there's not a lot of people. We only know, I think we can name on one hand the people that are fighting back. There's like,
I don't know about that. I can name on a couple hands. I mean, there are three of us here, so that's almost a hand right there.
Do we count?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. We count. Do we not count?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
If we're what stands between, like, your dick jokes and your, give me the Xanax, actually.
Yeah.
If you can add some of that too.
JBL, are you? Where are you? Are you darker than Sarah? I don't know. We're not hungry yet, I guess is all I'm saying. Like, all of that is bad, but we're not there.
I mean, I feel like everything's going to work out.
Really?
I mean, right now I do, yeah.
Great.
Let me give you, this feels very uncomfortable for me, but let me give you a quasi-optimistic story.
Look at this.
We decided to change personalities for the show.
We're role-reversing in Chicago.
And you tell me. We have thought, I think, from the beginning, that the period of maximum danger is the first year, right?
I don't know. Actually, I don't think that. I think the period of maximum danger is 82-year-old Trump between, like, Memorial Day and when he leaves of his last year.
When Don Jr. is becoming the nominee.
I think the period of maximum danger is the first year. The reason being because once you get into year two, you're in a midterm election year. It is possible the Democrats are going to seize back some institutional power. And once Democrats hold at least one branch of Congress, then you have the opportunity to start actually pushing back. So, like, then this is why the shock and awe of the first 100 days was what it was, because he had to push as far as he could, as fast as he could. I wonder if maybe if it may, like, if we can hold on for another 6 months, 7 months, and get to 20. What? Yeah, maybe.
It'll get worse.
I don't know. I feel maybe if we can hold on for what I don't
How many-
know. Am I
how
not
many of those
convinced?
did
I'm
you
not even
take?
really-
Actually, I don't recognize you right now. I don't even know you anymore. What are you talking about?
I'm trying, man.
I basically am with that. I mean, I guess I'm very concerned about the very end, but I'm with you. Like, I think that will be a lot of opportunities to push back, and we'll like. I guess I think things are going to be very bad. I want everybody should be clear-eyed about the fact that they will continue. He will continue to push. He'll continue to pardon awful people. He's going to continue to take bribes from people. They're going to continue to try to chill people and threaten people. And yet, I don't know. Like, he's been stopped in a lot of places so far, right? Like he's not marching, like Sherman through the South right now. Like, really, right? I mean, I think that on a number of areas, in immigration and a number of areas, like, he's been slowed, and so I think that we can still fight and slow him. I do agree with all that. I think that he will be an erratic 82-year-old man at the end of his term, and that is something that gives me a lot of fear and makes me want some of the lorazepam.
Yeah. I mean, somebody just yelled, like, what do we do, right? And that's a good and fair question, and I'm maybe going to answer it a little bit later, more fully. But I will say, part of what has struck me as concerning, I don't know if anybody saw this in the New York Times this weekend. This was somebody else was doing focus groups. It wasn't me.
Rude.
And I know. Other people can talk to voters, I guess. But she did this thing that was interesting. She asks a question, which is like, what animal would you use to describe the political parties? And everybody, when they're talking about Republican, describes like apex predators, right? Like lions, whatever. And they often describe Democrats as not apex predators.
Bunny rabbits. Cute little
But
bunnies.
then one person said something that is the kind of thing that really does jump out at you, a focus group, because you're like, that person just articulated something that the entire elite sort of hasn't quite settled on, which is she described the Democrats as deer in headlights. And I thought, yeah, that's right. And so when you say, what are we going to do about it, Kinzinger just did his rousing, like, we need to fight. And that's right. But I think the problem right now is that Democrats, and it is because Republicans, you guys listen to the show, so you know that I say these things, but the fact is, 10 years ago, why it's been such a weird decade, Donald Trump, RFK, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Rogan, they were all Democrats, right? Weird ones, but they identified as Democrats. And they consolidated themselves because they were bizarre, right? And they couldn't quite get the toehold in the sort of normal mainstream Democratic Party. They were like, our Republican Party looks nuts. Like, we could take some of that action. And they all moved over there. And when Trump started to do tariffs and populist messaging and saying he wouldn't touch Medicare, which is a lie, but when he says, I'm not going to touch Medicare or Social Security, whatever, Democrats are struggling right now to see how, in light of Trump's sort of populist scrambling of politics and no longer being like, yeah, we stand for, free markets, American leadership in the world, all that stuff, Democrats are like, well, who are we now, in contrast? And all they know is that they're anti-Trump. And that is not enough, right?
It's a good start.
It is a prerequisite, I think. I think Gretchen Whitmer is making a mistake by deciding that, and her numbers are going up though. Like, because Republicans in the state are saying, oh, look, yeah, she's being nice to our boy. That's fine. And there are going to be Democrats who take that lesson. And look, I'm for moderation. I am for finding the balance. Yeah, you guys know that about me. Like, I'm not a Republican squish still, kind of. Actually, I'm not a Republican at all. Take that back. But you don't have to cheer. It just is what it is. But I don't think that cozying up to, like, you are going to have to be able to say why what Trump is doing right now is wrong and is bad for the country. You're going to have to be able to articulate that. And then you are going to have to be to articulate what you stand for and how you're going to go push it through, how you're going to push.
But Trump's numbers are inching back up to. I wanted to prompt you on this, because that's kind of like, we just went through the whole litany of authoritarian stuff, and the economic stuff is still very bad. This is bond market. The bond touched like 5.15 I don't know, like how many of you guys are into that sort of thing, but that's really bad. And the Dallas Fed put out a manufacturing survey, and all these Republican types are saying things like, Doge has killed us. The economy sucks right now. These quotes from people they survey.
Can I give you two thoughts that are totally in contrast with each other, but that exist together in my head in harmony? Like, number one,
can you pull your shirt down?
The fact that Donald Trump's
I keep wanting to tickle him right here.
Okay, HR is not going to like that.
Okay. We have HR now. That's a new thing. We keep growing. Thank you for all your support. We keep growing.
My HR person sits like this all the time. La, la, la.
Number one, the people that are going back to saying they have a favorable view of Trump after the first 5 months are the other word that we can say now that I'm not going to say live. Okay, they're dumb and we do not like them, and they are morally bankrupt and vacuous, and it makes me extremely upset and concerned. That said, all the list of things that you've talked about, they're not experiencing any of it yet. And maybe they will and maybe they won't, but the bond market, the pardon of some fucking idiot sheriff in Culpeper County, Shari Redstone, who I didn't realize was a person until 3 weeks ago. I thought she was a hedge fund. Folding. None of that is impacting anybody. And so I'm not surprised that his numbers are stagnant. It's not human nature for people to be like, boy, I really fucked this one up, until they're met with the reality of the wreckage around them. So I think there's a lot of important stuff to worry about right now, and I'm not going to worry about Trump's favorability numbers and for I don't know.
That's okay. I'll do it for both of us.
I actually think there's a different reason why Trump's numbers have been drifting back up.
Do tell.
I think it's because the last 3 weeks we haven't been talking about Trump. We haven't been talking about tariffs. We've been talking about Joe Biden, and because of Jake Tapper's book.
Thanks, Jake.
And I think, look, you can set your watch by this now. When Trump is out of the focus of the news, his numbers go up. When everyone is focused on him, his numbers go down. It is always it's why when his numbers are bad, when he's running, they pull him out of the spotlight.
I feel like we talked about the jet from Qatar quite a lot. I don't know that it's... I feel like we were still talking a lot about Trump. No?
I don't know, man. I think you've had a lot of news cycles of people being reminded about what annoyed them about Democrats.
Tim?
I don't fucking... I know that I'm not supposed to give this opinion, but I do not give a fuck about Donald Trump's favorability numbers in May of 2025. I just don't. I don't think it's worth... I don't care. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not listening to the Focus Group podcast right now. I told Sarah...
I'm not listening to your podcast either.
No, well, that's a mistake. Because there's a lot of good material you've been losing out on. George Packer was awesome today. I said the C word. But, I'm going to go back and re-listen to it next year. I think that there are just more pressing matters. And I side with JVL's view of our fellow man. And they're... but I just, I don't think that's the pressing issue.
Okay, I promised we weren't going to do this where we get in the fight about the fellow man thing, but just real quick, while I've got a live audience here, okay, people are bad. Let's say we decide that. We grant JVL his premise.
People suck. Have you not read the Bible?
Okay, I hope everybody feels good about that.
Just say yes.
Now
you can go to confession next door after
No.
this. It's okay.
No, if people are just bad, now what? Now what do we do? Fix them?
Drink.
These are not solutions. Fix them.
Wag our finger at them very sternly.
Yeah.
You are wrong, sir. The bond market hit 5.15 this week. Did you not see that?
I know it makes us all feel better to be like, well, these people are obviously idiots. But he won the popular vote, so we probably need to go convince some people that
they paid good money to feel good here tonight. So can we not just be like, yeah, they're fucking dumb, huh? and reassess in a year? Is there anything wrong with that?
Need a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after spending last night drinking? Then you have to use Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I've been telling you about Z-Biotics for a while now. I'm here in Chicago today. Met an old buddy, somebody I haven't seen in many, many years last night. I was worried we might have one too many. We did have one too many. I wanted to sound good for George Packer this morning, and Katie Couric had a big day. Went to Z-Biotics. Worked like a charm. Summer is here, which means more opportunities to celebrate the warm weather. Before that backyard barbecue, brew a glass of Pinot or cocktail. Don't forget your Z-Biotics pre-alcohol drink. Take one before drinking and wake up feeling great and ready to take on the next day and all that summer has to offer. Go to zbiotics.com/nextlevel to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Next Level at checkout. Z-Biotics is backed with 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/nextlevel and use the code NEXTLEVEL at checkout for 15% off. Summer is here, which means more opportunities to celebrate the warm weather. Before that backyard barbecue, brew a glass of Pinot, watching the sunset at the beach, or cocktail by the campfire. Don't forget your Z-Biotics pre-alcohol. Drink one before drinking and wake up feeling great and ready to take on the next day and all that summer has to offer.
All right, let's do some candy before we get to the serious talk. We're going to play a little game where we are each going to make a case to you as to who the worst cabinet secretary so far has been. And you, the people, will tell us who wins. And it better be me. Sarah, you go first.
I would like to make because here's the thing, it's a tough category for the worst.
Competitive category.
Very competitive. And I think there are obvious choices, like the one you're going to pick. And then I think there are ones that are more, that are really causing problems. And now I'm going to say Pam Bondi is the worst one. And let me tell you something. And this goes back to the rule of law stuff being pretty elemental and needed. And the idea that you would have an attorney general who's just on TV all the time. I don't know if you guys remember a guy named Merrick Garland.
Boo! Boo! It's okay. Let it out. He's a nice man.
I mean, he was never on TV being Donald Trump deserves to be prosecuted. And you know what? Maybe he should have been just a smidge more. I would have taken a little bit more from Merrick Garland. Maybe she's on TV all the time, but that's not the important part. The important part is she has lost 93% of the cases that they have brought, or the defenses that they've brought up trying to defend Donald Trump. Why have they lost 93%? Because these cases are asinine, would never have passed muster in a judges are looking at them being this is pathetic, get it out of here. And she puts her credibility on the line every day. She's happy to do it. And so she, I think, is the worst. She's doing the most damage.
It's a very strong pick.
I think you made a very compelling case, though. I think that I won our argument from earlier about whether we're hungry yet. That's pretty good. She's only won 7% of the cases. That's nice. That's a good sign. She keeps losing. That's good. We got some.
And I stipulate, I think the courts are the one big thing standing in the way.
Yeah.
All right, Tim.
I'm next. You're not next.
No,
okay.
I'm going to go last.
It is a very competitive category, and I think that it's important to recognize that. And it's kind of like the MVP vote, that it's, you have to define what valuable means, what worst means. I think you took a very literal sense of who's doing the most damage. And I think in that category, you could really look at Marco or Kristi Noem, who I'm not going to pick in addition to Bondi. But I'm defining worst as how fucking stupid could you possibly be worst? In that definition, it's obviously Howard Nutlick. I'm
sorry, what's his name?
Howard Nutlick, Commerce Secretary Howard Nutlick. Have you ever known the name of a Commerce Secretary before? No. I like name 3 commerce secretaries before Howard Nuttlick. You can't do it. I'm not going to embarrass you on stage.
There was that guy from the first Trump administration who kept falling asleep during the meetings. What was his name?
I have no idea. And you're not supposed to know.
Yeah, right.
What did he say?
know.
A couple of them know. You're not supposed to know the commerce secretary. And this guy, like, he's in a group of people where you're around the table and it's like, the third string WWE executives is here. And like a man that wrote a children's book about January 6th being a good thing is here. And it's like you have the stupidest group of people you could possibly gather around a table. And at that table, everybody's like, you know who's the stupidest guy here? Nuttlick. And will you shut up? And so, like, he has been single-handedly goading Trump on about wrecking the economy and talking about how Americans are dreaming to have generations of iPhone screwers. He's like, the people, like, we're going to live in this great utopia where you will work in the iPhone factory and your children will work there and your grandchildren will work there. Like, you're supposed to be bringing commerce here. Sir. It's not like, it's not close.
It's very good. It's very strong. The correct answer is Pete Hegseth. I don't want to get too dark, but democracy only happens when the army allows it to. This is a fact which is, go look.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get too dark.
Whoa.
Across the world, this is how it always is. And Pete Hegseth's job is to go in and prepare the military to possibly not allow democracy to continue. Like, that is his remit. And the guy seems to have gone after that job pretty hard. So he's the worst. And I'm right about that, right? Yeah. Okay.
We're not doing best cabinet secretary?
We could, but I'm going to go real dark.
Okay,
I'll go
let's
first
do
then.
it really
I'll
quick.
Go first.
You go
We'll go
first.
back. We'll do snake draft. The best cabinet secretary is actually RFK.
Hi, JBL.
You be quiet and listen.
I'm the best because you can't hear me. Is it because of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Because these people need to get their consequences. You want to stop vaccinating your kids? You want to start drinking raw milk? I'm sitting back with my MMR and all my old man shingles vaccine. Have at it, Cletus.
I'm glad we went there because now we just get to be honest about how I was right in the first category because you obviously won this one. It's hard to compete with that, but he's not in the cabinet, but he's close enough, and it's got to be Cash for me. And here's why: because I'm sorry, it's about grading on a curve. And when Cash was picked by FBI for the FBI director, my phone was blowing up with people that were like, "Fuck me." Like, the FBI director, has unlimited power. He doesn't have to go to grand juries. Like, what kind of VPNs are we going to need to be able to communicate with Cat?
This show is sponsored by Surfshark.
Surfshark. We're gonna, how many different layers are we gonna have to communicate via carrier pigeon? And what has ended up happening so far is that Cash has mostly hung out at hockey games with Wayne Gretzky and flown to Las Vegas, where he has a very weird patron whose home he lives in, which I don't know what's happening there, and I don't want to know. But all things considered, so far Cash has done basically nothing as far as I can tell, and I like it that way. Keep it up, Cash. Also, by the way, he admitted Epstein killed himself, which we know what really happened.
All right, Sarah, go ahead. We got to keep moving. We're on the
Cash
clock.
Patel's an interesting pick, though, because everybody was worried that, Cash Patel was going to get his eyes on you. But, where are his eyes looking? I don't know. Those eyes are all over. Every time I see a picture of him, I'm like, what is happening with the eyes? They're like close together, but going opposite directions. No, I gotta stop this. Okay, I clearly took this exercise far too literally. It didn't occur to me to be like, the one who's gonna kill your children's my favorite, because that's what people deserve. I was just gonna say, like, Scott Bessent, because Scott Bessent's the least bad of all the bad ones.
Doug Burgum would have been a good pick in that category.
Oh, I forgot about Doug Burgum. What is he doing?
What's Doug done?
He is the best one. That's a great pick. He's not doing anything.
He did have a staffer that he made bake cookies. There was like a weird story about this on like page A37 of the Washington Post a couple weeks ago.
That's literally the nicest thing that's ever happened with one of the
but it was
secretaries.
Like forcible cookie baking now. It was like against her will. I think it was
we don't kink shame on this podcast.
It was like the assistant secretary of water resources. He was making bake cookies. It wasn't like an intern. You can Google it. It happened.
Hey guys, it's Tim and Sarah. We're here with my frenemy, John Lovett from Love It or Leave It. June is Pride Month, and we're going to be live in D.C. on June 6th for World Pride for a very special live show fundraiser featuring the three of us, plus some gay special guests.
Crooked and the Bulwark will be donating the proceeds from this fundraiser to the Immigrant Defenders Law Center to support Andre Romero, the makeup artist who the Trump administration wrongly disappeared to El Salvador and who is currently being held in Secot.
Go to crooked.com/events.
And we will see you all on June 6th.
All right. So you had Pete on the show, and you asked him a very interesting question. You said, if 2024 Pete could hop into a DeLorean and go back, what would he give? What would he tell 2020 Democrats? And so I guess I wanted to ask the two of you if we could put you into the DeLorean back to 2020, what would you have told people?
I'll go first, so you can think about it for a sec.
I don't need to think about it, but go ahead.
Oh, no, if you're ready, go. I'll go next.
In 2020, if I was Joe Biden and I could go back in the DeLorean and I could tell Democrats what to do,
Yeah.
Joe Biden says...
January of 2020. So he's been inaugurated.
He gets inaugurated and he says, I'm a one-term president and I'm extremely excited to see the Democratic bench flourish while I'm here. I'm going to help, we're going to build people up through this moment. So that Donald Trump is never president again, and I'm going to pass the torch like I said I was going to when I said I was going to be a transition president. That's like number one, easy.
Yeah. I think that the Democrats need like a hard reset, like when you have something going wrong on your iPhone and you need to do like a hard reset, like a factory reset, to like start at zero and rebuild. And I'm actually pretty, and maybe we'll talk about this in a second, like open to what that rebuild looks like. It doesn't have to look like exactly what my priors are. I think there are a couple different ways it could go. And so I think that there's a million things that you could do when you answer that question. But like the main thing is you need to answer it with the urgency of Donald fucking Trump got elected a second time. Like he got indicted in 4 different jurisdictions. He put his mugshot on a T-shirt. He instigated a riot at the Capitol, and like he lived in his like cougar den in Florida for 4 years, and then reemerged and was like, "I'm gonna be your God King," and he won. And like, okay, in the face of that, you're like, "Well, I think we should have taken the border a little more seriously." I'm like, "No." Like it should have been.
Yes, they should have.
Yeah, yes, and a lot of different things. And again, and so I'm interested. I'm going to be asking several people this. I'm interested what other people say. Like Biden obviously shouldn't have picked Kamala. Like if he was not going to support her and like put her in a position to succeed, which he obviously
Tim's not
didn't.
saying, we all think that Kamala,
I love Kamala.
We all think Kamala like way outperformed expectations and like did a good job.
Yeah. But you can't pick somebody and then that you did not trust to be your successor when you're 70 million years old.
Let me tell you something. If you were talking, and this is part of Tapper's
McCain
book.
couldn't have done that with Palin. That was a fuck up with him too,
Yeah,
right?
no, but if you talk to people in the Democratic Party about, you'd be like, is Biden really going to do this again? And they would be like, well, it can't be Kamala. And you'd sort of be like, but you picked Kamala. And you're the one not giving her like anything to do. And so like the idea that there was no building up of her, like they used her as a shield to keep Biden being the only viable person.
Yeah. And so
It is cynical and wrong. And then now to come out and be like, yeah, I would have won. She didn't. Get out of here.
Fuck you. And then obviously he should have, like Merrick Garland shouldn't have been picked. But then you appoint a special counsel on day one. Like you're in the DeLorean. You go back to Biden and you're like, hey, by the way, I'm from the future. Trump wins again. And point the fucking special counsel right now. Like time is of the essence. Like obviously you do that. Like obviously like you go back. What time are you going to? Like you go back and talk to Kamala and they're like, we don't have to make this a Tim Wall Street, but like pick Mark Cuban. Don't pick Joe Shapiro. Like pick somebody crazy. Like pick pick a fucking idiot pick the idiot podcaster, bro. Make Theo Von your VP. I don't know. Pick The Rock. I was like, but like do something. Like you need to make dramatic. Like Donald Trump was a moron game show host who was 4 times indicted and ran for
Still
president
a moron, not a game show host anymore. He's president.
Won. And like I'm getting very frustrated in all of my interviews with Democrats, and so the Democratic flacks that are bitching people to the podcast, you can listen to this clip and show them to your boss, where like I'm asking them questions about what the Democrats should do in the future and what they should have done in the past, and the answers are all like, well, we should have talked about inflation a little bit more. And I'm like, what? Like, these fucking guys are like, we're going to make us the stupidest American a god king. And you're like, well, I don't know. I think that like maybe we should have been a little tougher on the border. I'm like, okay, like I want grand thinking. I want a changed playbook, hard factory reset. And I am a little bit frustrated that it does. Like I feel like basically Chris Murphy is on that page. Like basically only Chris Murphy is on that page, as far as I can tell. Like I mean, AOC and Bernie have always wanted a hard factory reset, so they haven't changed their strategy at all. But like they want a very different approach, which is something. But like among the among the Democrats I like, among the center left Democrats, there are not any of them that are like I want a radical fucking different strategy and approach, and that's what is needed.
All right, I got a question for the two of you. Let's say that we get an independent counsel on January 26th or something like that. Do you think that would have made a difference? I don't know. This is not a leading question. If Trump had been like actually convicted of a bunch of those things, let's say he's convicted of the January 6th stuff, do you think that would have stopped him?
Because he would have gone to jail.
Yeah.
Do you think, I'm sorry, let me say it again. Do you think that would have stopped him?
Yeah.
I do. But here's the difference. Here's the difference in the hypothetical that you're posing, which is for them to have been aggressive about that means that their orientation was entirely different than it was, right? In all facets. If they're making that choice, they're making a bunch of other choices that also were much more aggressive and understood the moment. And Tim's point, I think, the idea that with full knowledge of where we are makes me nervous. And it goes back to my deer in the headlights thing where like, if they're not going to say the Biden thing was insane and we never should have done it, they don't know how to run in 2026 or in 2028 because they have to be able to say, and frankly, I'm just going to I'm going to rant just for 1 second too, which is forget the Tapper and what Biden did in 2020 or 2024. I want to talk about what he's doing right now. Because if you have, anybody who does crisis comms knows that when you are in the middle of a crisis, you tell it all, you tell it fast, you tell the truth, and you end the story. You put it away. And Joe Biden could end this right now. Instead of going on The View being like, I would have won, and running these counterfactuals, he could go out there and say, it was a mistake. I was too old. I have prostate cancer now. I should have passed the torch. There's an amazing bench of people, and it's on me. And if he did that, we would be in a much different place because he would give permission to the party to say, we're moving on, which is what they have to do.
I agree with all that. I'm not going to do the and another thing because everybody knows that I agree. I'm going to answer your question on January 26th. Who knows what the past holds, right? And that is like part of the exercise. But it's important to remember that as awful as the Republicans have been across the board, there were 7 Republican senators that voted to bar Donald Trump from ever running again. There should have been 17. He should have been barred, but there were 7. That's unbelievable. There were only 50. There were 7 Republican senators that were like, this was so bad that he should never be able to run again, and I'm going to vote to convict him of impeachment. Had Biden gets in, and a special counsel been named immediately, and they don't go after the fucking guy with the horns, and they go after Donald Trump, who sent the guy with the horns there, and he's in fucking court in 2022. I think it's at least 50-50 that he doesn't end up being able to run again, right? That he gets stuck in that we are in a totally different timeline. That there obviously are going to be some Republican media people that do the same thing. Oh, it's a witch hunt, blah blah blah. But there will be some Republicans at that point that are like, let's get rid of him. I'm ready for Tiny D. I'm ready for Meatball Ron. He did an announcement event. Nobody showed up. The brick wall suit man was the only guy there. Matt Gaetz didn't even show up to his announcement event. There was appetite for it if people would have jumped on it, and so I think it might have made a difference for sure.
Okay.
The Supreme Court has been, well, here's the thing. I mean, since you brought it up, the Supreme Court, with them granting Donald Trump king-like power,
that was
real problem. I will say in this narrow moment, Amy Coney Barrett, they've been ruled, except for Alito and Thomas, who will basically give him anything, they've been standing in his way on things. And so Amy Coney Barrett has been not surprising, but she is acting MAGA hates her. They are very mad at her because she does keep ruling against him and writing pretty stiff, sorry guys, this is in the Constitution. I don't know what you're talking about.
Also, she is a woman. So that's one strike against her automatically from the MAGA types.
True. But I think they thought, she's a Catholic woman with 7 children.
Right. So she should be home.
Yeah, they
and
thought
not
she was
taking a job that should go to a white man. All right, listen, we are coming up on time here.
Are we?
So I want to flip this.
Nobody wants us to stop, man.
All right. Just so you people know.
You didn't say what you were going to do in a time machine.
This is a bit. Because, when we plan these things, it's always we got to make sure we have marks we have to hit. There are hard stops, whatever. And
it's a real
JBL,
program.
you got to really, drive that train. And then we get up here, and I try to do it, and the two of them are like, what are you talking about? Oh, this is great. Just keep going, man. Why is he being such a sourpuss?
It is true. Tim in the Slack was like, I was out until 2 a.m. last night, and I got to drink a 5-hour energy, so...
So
I was out late last night.
So
I'm a little punchy.
Let's go to the Back to the Future sequel, where we are jumping forward in the DeLorean.
It's the worst in the trilogy.
We are jumping ahead.
The second one is terrible. I just watched it with my kids. It's not good.
All right, we can jump ahead 12 months.
Okay.
To the middle of the 2026 race. What are you telling people? Because they're going to get, everybody gets the blinders in front of them, what's right in front of them then, and these things wind up taking on a logic of their own.
Yeah.
So with a little bit of distance, what are you telling them? What advice are you giving people?
Can I change the question? I mean, I'm going to answer it, but I'm going to revise.
Oh my
the
God.
extent.
We go through these questions ahead of time.
I'm a host. Well, you didn't say 12 months. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, I forgot about this one.
Here's the thing. The midterm thing is kind of easy, actually. And so it's a less interesting exercise because it's just this guy fucking sucks. And he said he was going to get your prices down, and he hasn't. And it's also chaos and crazy. And it's like, fuck him. Like, let's put in some people to put a check on him in case he goes really crazy when he's 82. Like it's a straight, the Democrats people will try to convince themselves the Democrats need some positive vision or message, which they will eventually. They don't need it in 12 months. They just need a Donald Trump sucks message in 12 months. Which is evident by every midterm.
It would be good if they could figure out a proactive message. Okay, I guess.
They could make up a fake one though, or any of them. That's just the nature of the midterms. Like the next one is just, after that, it becomes very challenging. I haven't heard anybody really besides AOC and Bernie, and they deserve credit for this, even though it's not the vision I'd prefer. Maybe it's the right one. I'm open to that. I genuinely don't know. It's not a bit. I genuinely don't know what the right thing is. But they need to do something that's very fucking different. It is not it is not a plan to be well, hopefully Donald Trump puts us into a Great Depression, and then whatever governor we put up ends up winning by accident. That might happen. That might happen for us. That's not a plan, though.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Great Depression. If you're going to proactively reach out to people, you need to realize, God love all the people in this room, and I do genuinely love and appreciate you. The Democrats are not reaching people that don't give a fuck about anything that we are talking about. And there is a vast world out there of people that are just checked out. They're not paying attention to this. They get information randomly via their TikTok or the podcast they watch, or if they're old, the Facebook pages that they read or whatever, various different things. But they're not paying attention. They don't know about the bond markets. They don't know about the Culpeper sheriff. And the Democrats got to reach them. And they're going to have to do it being very creative and different and doing totally different types of stuff than they've ever done before. And currently, as I look at we've seen over the last 5 months, I see a lot of either incremental stuff or boy, we need to do a study to see what young men are up to. I've got a prospectus. It's called SAM, Strategic Advocacy for Males. It's like
Jane Goodall in the forest. What is this male species? What does he do? How does he sound? What is he like?
That's not right. I want to see 7 Democrats. I want to see fight oligarchy socialists. I want to see Mark Cuban people. I want to see people that I think are too stupid to exist, talking in farts. I want to see people that's only shot at college campuses. I want to see somebody that's so young that they look like they can't. Try a bunch of different shit. We've twice elected Donald fucking Trump. Stop putting up people that have come up the normal pathway and have been politicians their whole life. That isn't going to work. And who talk to the New York Times and who just talk to us. You should talk to us, but you got to talk to other people. And so I think that's the big challenge for them right now that I'm not seeing a good answer to.
All right, Sarah, take us home.
All right. So obviously in the last decade, our politics has changed a tremendous amount. And when I listen to voters, right, number one, the thing that they want is not a politician. And sometimes when I talk to Democrats, and I talk to them a lot, and they're all sort of what's the one message that will help me get through to Cletus? How do I reach them? What do I say? Or they'll be I want to be an ally to LGBTQIA plus people, but also, I'm worried the social issues are dragging us down, so how do I do it? And I'm if you're going to make a 50-year-old straight white man, say all those letters, you guys are going to lose. This can't be what we're doing here. And then the thing
How dare you silence the asexuals? How dare you kick them out of our community on the cusp of Pride Month?
What's the I stand for? What's
intersex?
What is that?
It's hermaphrodites. You're kicking hermaphrodites out of the coalition right before our World Pride event?
I think there's a difference.
I apologize to you, Jeffrey Eugenides.
Hermaphrodites, identify yourselves now so I can publicly apologize. No, this is not what we should be doing. I just beg people. And here's the thing, I think that a lot of these folks have spent a lot of time figuring out how to be politicians and say things like politicians, and I would like all of them to relearn how to be humans. Like, just to be people.
Look at Kinzinger, man.
And just say normal things like normal people and say, and like stand for something. Just like stand in a place that matters and say, here's what I think. And when people yell at you on Twitter, yell back. Donald Trump picked a whole new like set of issues. Build the wall wasn't a thing a Republican had said. Like, take some big swings, have some imagination. The other option is authoritarianism. So like, I don't know, we should probably try some big stuff. It's just not going to be enough to be around the edges. And here's the last thing I'll say, because this is sort of the end. We are wrapping up. We're good show, long show.
Do we have to?
I know. So we were at the Cubs game last night. One of the very nice listeners got us awesome seats behind home plate. And JVL,
Thank you, Brian.
JVL and I went. He took us. Some other folks. We all went to the game. And when you go to a baseball game, one of the fun things, I take my kids a lot now to Nats games, and like I always try to get there so they can hear the national anthem, because the national anthem is still a great piece of music, and sometimes people mess it up, and it's fun to watch them struggle with that last note, you know? Never know if they're gonna get there, and it's exciting when they do. But the last line of the Star Spangled Banner is the home of the brave, right? Like, we're supposed to be the home of the brave. That's supposed to be like this defining thing about who we are. We're the land of the free, we're the home of the brave. And I am seeing so much cowardice from people. And it's weird because Donald Trump, like, he's a scary buffoon, I guess, and when he threatens you, but like, people should do what Adam says and push back. And this idea of bravery, like, what are things we can do right now? We should shame people who are caving. We should not just let people cave and be like, man, you know.
Now you're talking my language. I love a good shaming.
The law firms, you know what I saw over the weekend, a bunch of people, high like lawyers. They left Paul Weiss. Good, leave Paul Weiss. Like, we should not reward the people who are caving. And so I think that what we should, and here's the thing, right? So all these elite institutions, they're scared because they got shareholders and they got stuff to lose and mergers or whatever. But Adam's right when he says, like, we're the ones we're waiting for, because like, we don't have a merger. We don't have shareholders. We're just Americans who still believe that America is like a place worth fighting for. And so if we want to be the home of the brave, like, we're going to have to stand up and do that and explain to everybody else why we're the home of the brave. And it's like, not that hard. Like, make a TikTok about why what Donald Trump is doing is destroying the country. Like, everybody's going to have to use their voice. Because here's the thing. The whole point of authoritarianism is to make you tired. It's the reason that they do the shock and awe. It's the reason that the corruption is everywhere all at once. It is an attempt to make you so tired that you don't fight back. And honestly, we're a little bit in that moment broadly. And it's the reason this community is special, because this is the not scared community. And so our job is to go teach everybody else how to not be scared right now.
That's pretty good.
Guys, this was a great show. A hella long show. Thank you, Chicago. If you're around for the after, come see us at the after party. We love you.
Thanks, guys.